I am totally against anybody storming onto the court while I'm there. That is the quickest way to get yourself Bobby Knighted. And I'm talking about I'm taking one of them chairs and I'm just letting it go.
Wow. Remember that scene in The Matrix when homie took the pole and just hit everybody in a circle in a 6-foot perimeter?
Just start going around.
That's going to be me. What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
Yeah, as a boyfriend, I would never train my significant other.
I did it one time as a boyfriend, and my client was actually really great, just inconsistent at the time.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength. We're giving you an inside look into all things wellness. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course with me I have a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store for a treat because it's the return of the variety show. That's when we give you our best foot forward. So hopefully you take your best foot forward. You do that two-step, that tango, whatever it is you need to do to make it on through the week with the best goddamn wellness information available.
Yay!
Brother Jones, you know we are touching down here live on the block of the Rock and Newsstand Studios. We got the man Hassan Insane himself inside the building. We got the good brother KJ outside getting some behind the scenes footage going on. And man, it's a hell of a way to start a show, fam. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm glad that we have reached the point in life where we no longer wear the same things anymore, because that used to be a problem we had, you know?
I think so.
Especially on days recording content where you would have on the same thing that I would have on, it would just be an inverse.
Yeah, I think that they're still implied in some way, but you know, it's respectful rotations that we've kind of gone through.
So I'm excited for that, for this BTS moment. But the week, man, it was one of those weeks where I got a chance to revisit some old spaces. I always talk about having energy in old spaces. I got some work in. I started the week off on a high.
Okay.
By midweek, I started to go down to the deep side.
Okay, let's hear about the high real quick. We'll revisit the rest of it.
The high, man, shout out to the good brother Odyssey, man. I got a chance to get up with him, top of the week, chop it up with him in the studio.
Just for the people who might not be as versed, can you give me a little bit on who Odyssey actually is?
Odyssey is a Brooklynite, if you will, but also from the DMV, an artist that he's been rapping for over 20 years.
Rapper, song producer.
All the above.
A lot of slashes in the bag.
A lot of slashes in the bag. Dad, you know what I'm saying? Biker, you know, you throw it all out there.
Okay.
But I got a chance to get up with him, man, and it really just felt like chopping it up with an OG. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody that's really been doing it for a long time, and you can see it and can speak on the work that was done. So that was love. I got a chance to revisit that gym that we not going to mention. Cut the check.
Okay, that's what's up.
But I was in there. I was all up in the steam room. I was, fam, you talk about being the only chocolate chip on the cookie.
It's about to get real crazy in this conversation. Son, I told you.
I was in the steam room.
Told you that beet juice did something to this man.
It did nothing. But tell the truth. Cat Williams style. Nah, man, but I was in the steam room, and it was one of those real luxury gym experiences of like, damn, like there's a huge drop off between being in a steam room, like that's spa level steam room, to being in a gym that don't have that. Let's just put it like that. Let's just say there's a lot of other problems in said gym.
No, that's what you pay for at the door, Kyle.
That's craziness.
The price for your admission inside the gym is going to let me know what level of bullshit you deal with inside that gym. That's entirely what it's about. At the end of the day, I have made every other sacrifice.
I've seen some domestic violence at another gym that I'm not going to name.
I'm going to ask you how much you paid to go to that gym.
I didn't pay a thing.
That's the problem. They go hand in hand. See, you see the correlation.
I do.
When the barrier of
But
entry.
there was also another gym that I didn't pay a thing to go to where I was in the spa and the only chocolate chip on the cookie.
Okay, yeah. Again, I'm still going to put it, same thing. We having the same conversation, Kyle. I'm just trying to let you know that the price for entry is also a barrier between the bullshit. I'm trying to just put it out there the way it needs to be.
It's well put.
If you have an issue with anything I've said, please go and frequent whatever gym you think is going to give you that best value and also the best experience at a low price point, and then go to visit one at a high price point, see if there's anything different there. But I'm going to go ahead and move on from that, Kyle, and tell you a little bit about my week, my man. My week, first and foremost, was spent entirely on recovery for the first half.
Okay.
So the faithful listeners.
So you was opposite of my week.
I was on the opposite end, man. I was really down bad coming into the week. Definitely had to give myself some time in that spa on the gym side for me. I wasn't hitting the steam room. I was hitting the sauna, getting that the protein, the heat proteins.
It's the same thing, brother.
No, it's not. One is wet, one is dry. They're two totally different experiences.
Pause.
Yes.
Pardon my left. But you got it.
So I was doing that to try to get the voice back in line. So I felt like I was a lot better after the end of all of that. Going back to the top end of the show, I also had to get some good boyfriend karma inside the game. We're going to revisit that whole, how you said you didn't have the best listener or the best student at that standpoint.
I said most consistent.
Most consistent student.
That's what I said. You trying to out here and put me in some water that I ain't stepped in.
You ain't had a most consistent student.
For sure.
I bought some good karma on that front, my friend. Has your lady ever asked you to do something that she knows in her mind is bullshit, and then you agree to do that?
Every time.
Exactly. So
it's laid flat out. You know what it is. And it's vice versa. It's not just us. Like, there's plenty of things that women come and don't want to be a part of.
I know. So they know what it is, and they know who you are even better. Yeah. So when you actually deliver on that side, you know you got some good karma coming your way. So I definitely cashed out on the rest of that for the rest of my week. And I think my relaxation has been peak level, Brother Jones.
All right.
You know,
it, man. Listen,
it's being able to identify the things you do want to do and don't want to do, I think, are the real key factors that help you play out the rest of this whole life situation as an adult, my man.
That's 100% fact. I think about legitimately not doing what I don't want to do. Like, and I don't have to have a reason for any other
at all
reasoning.
Never have to give it to you.
Yo, you want to do this?
It? Nah.
You witnessed that as we was out with the young lady with the jewelry in the purse, and she was trying to commandeer my.
Oh yes, she wanted to take your
bolo,
your bolo tie.
Woman was trying to.
You should give that to me. No, I should not.
So you gonna hand it up? No. Like, I don't know what dude out here playing that game, but we in middle school.
You know, you have to be able to be at a position where you can make up your mind definitively and try to evolve that, Kyle. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with in the early phases of this whole training situation, man. So I do want to take that, you know, that level of definition that we have today, and I want to think back a little bit.
Okay.
I want to go back into time, and I want to get into a little bit more specifics on this week's segment of Ask the Professional, my man. Now, I will tell you personally, I used to only want to train a specific type of person.
All right.
When I first got in straight out of college, I was all on some, hey, I want to work with athletes. I want to work with people who are like top end performers, and I want to
level
anything that is going for D1 college to pro level.
Olympians.
That's it. That's the only thing I ever wanted to work with. And then I was rudely awakened to the fact that there's not a whole lot of those people in the world.
No.
So if you want to pay some bills, you might want to have...
It's a handful per country, per sport.
Yeah. You might want to have some different options inside there to differentiate. You know, and I do remember you taking us through a little bit of the advice that you would give to an early professional and being distinct, seeing what the end game is going to be like. I wanted to think through, Kyle, when did you have to make a decision on how you wanted to train and approach that? And then also, how do you approach with today's mindset and more inclusive offering to your practice? Because often you get people that come to you from all different walks. You're not seeking them out kind of like those high-end professionals or people that are weekend warriors or track athletes and things of that nature. You know, they come to you from any myriad of different things. So how do you adjust your offerings to be reflective to a more inclusive practice today?
Those are two great questions. I would say, to answer the first, when I think about the lens of which I would like to project the type of clientele that I would want, it's a very short lens, like you said. Like, you have one person in mind. I would say not to limit yourself, right? Because money is not reflexive of what wellness is in a short sense, right? Like, if I'm thinking of, I'm this guy in weightlifting, specifically strength training, I only want to have strength training clients. It's like, well, what about the runners? They need to strength train. Or, you know, what about the yogis? They definitely need to strength train too, right? Or maybe even shorty from the Zumba class. To go down to the second part of the question, man, I would say that Excuse me. To go to the second part of the question, I would say that I'm losing the second part of the question. One more time, Tom.
How could you make it a little bit more inclusive for people of all ages and abilities today?
In order to make it more inclusive for everyone, I would say you would have to put yourself in different positions outside of your own. Like, get into that space where you're a little bit uncomfortable. The reference I would use a lot of the times would be when you're in a sport. If you are a baseball player in the summer, you should probably try to play golf, right? Like, because you're swinging, but it's two different type of mechanics that have to come along. And it's almost like adding tools to your tool bag. So if you only focus on strength training, maybe you should try yoga, right? Maybe you should go to a Zumba class. Maybe you should do a Tabata class, right? Because there are so many different facets of what wellness is that if you only focus on one, you're only going to be limited to that one stream of income. The more tools you have in your bag, the more variety of people that you can serve in all walks of life can come in and be like, yo, I want to do this with this person more often. And that's how you start to build a tribe and even a community.
Yeah. So to just carry on to where you were going, I think you have to first build your skill level and your expertise to have a wider bag, so to speak, right? If you're just starting off and, you don't have that deep of a skill set, maybe I'm a bodybuilder myself and that's the only thing I know. So I only want to go and identify that. I could understand and I could even empathize with the person that wants to come in from that perspective. But to your point, it's limiting because that's no two people who walk inside these spaces ever want to do the exact same thing. And you can't just have this one cookie cutter approach to everybody that comes across you because you look like the wild ass trainer who got Gladys.
And that's how injuries happen.
Yeah, you got Gladys doing power cleans, and Gladys never really wanted to do power cleans. She just wanted to be able to pick up her kids.
Pause. Have you ever injured anybody? Like,
no.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, inadvertently, or like someone be injured in the midst of like your practice. You get what I mean?
I've helped people come back from injury, but I will say in the entirety of my career, I never had somebody get injured during a workout. No.
I remember I did like an Equifit with a young woman like years ago. It was like one of my first ones, and she was like complaining that her of like hamstring pain from like a deadlift. And it was like, yo, this is the assessment. We not even like lifting. And I was like, I felt bad because I was young and I was like, well, that could have been avoided. Like we could have used dumbbells. We didn't have to use a barbell or things of that nature, but it definitely stuck with me. And something like that made me evolve into being like, oh, I never want this to happen again. Even if it's not like an injury where you need surgery, like I don't ever want to give anyone a bad session.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. I think somewhere along the path of where I came from, I got comfortable enough to be confident enough to tell everybody that they had to work out in the way that I was prescribing. Yeah. And that's tough to stand on like that when you're first getting started, because a lot of people are coming in and telling you what they want you to do. Mm-hmm. At the point where we were coming across our paths, I was already in my master's program inside of college. It's like, cool. I know you want those abs, but I need you to warm up this way because, again, I put professional athletes on the field. You're not about to tell me that you've been sitting all day and you're just ready to come in here out from outside and start lifting your heaviest. You're not about to get hurt on my side. So
that's not how it works.
It's not, so it does take a level of...
I had some Army veteran dudes like that before. They was just ready to go gung-ho. I was like, fam, we still got to warm up.
And it's for you have to have the confidence to be able to say this is for your preservation amidst all of the other uncertainties. So to go all the way back through that, if you have better information, you have a deeper bag to pull from. You have a wider array of applications that you can give to people who might not have been in your initial demographic. So all of that to say, learn and then apply kind of to yourself first. And then the more versed you are, you'll be able to have a little bit more, aperture for that, man.
No, 100%. The only point I was adding is like, it happens from the stuff that you love, right? So yes, you have to learn things from other places, but like start with your interests, like scratch your back first, that itch.
I like it, man. And that's going to lead you into not only a greener pasture, but it's also going to lead you into an opportunity to really become a distinct veteran in this game, Kyle. And I want to say, as a distinct veteran in this game, that segment was brought to you in part by the On The Move bag by Off The Strength.
Okay.
That's right. The On The Move bag.
Tony.
Well, being a distinct veteran inside here, Kyle, I was thinking about all the cyclists out in this world.
Okay.
And when I was thinking about the cyclists, I was like, you know what, Kyle? a lot of my friends out here keep getting these aches and pains.
Okay.
A lot of people complaining about creaky backs and achy knees and things of that nature.
Ankles and whatnot.
So if I could come up with something that was stylish and also has some functionality to it, Kyle, I got to tell you that the On The Move bag by Off The Strength was exactly the tool that we needed to give to the people. That means it's going to come with not only this great bag that you see back here, but it also comes with a suspension trainer. Now, when I say that, Kyle, I don't want it to get confused with the popular suspension trainers that are out there that we're not going to mention their name because they're not going to sue us. But you can do a full body weight workout in your bag and still be able to pull up wherever you need to, have your microphone clipped to you, your speakers, you can have your water bottle, all those things, and you can still do it and be dipped and dapper at the same time. The On The Move bag by Off The Strength, Brother Jones.
Sounds like you allowing folks to get in their bag with a new bag.
Yeah.
Off The Strength, On The Move.
That's exactly it. And this is the KR Jones colorway right here. You can see why. It is KR Jones
camo. You got to let them know why you need the camo.
You got to get your organic thug on somewhere, somehow, somewhere. And it was definitely inspired by my brother, so I got to salute him on that. And after that, Brother Jones, we're going to get into a little bit of this good.
Okay.
We got to get into some bad.
All right.
And we're going to get into some ugly here. That's right, Kyle. It is time for this week's episode of Ripped from the Headlines. And Brother Jones, the first thing I got to do is salute to Brooklyn's own Iron Mike Tyson.
Okay.
His evolution in the last decade has been one of the craziest evolutions that I have ever seen as a man that I did not anticipate this coming out. This brother used to strike fear in the hearts of men.
Yeah.
All over. I'm talking about, and I remember
Brownsville.
I remember seeing Mike Tyson on Atlantic Avenue in a white Lamborghini when I might have been at strongest 5 or 6. It's because it looked like a Transformer car. You never see no cars like that.
That's that Countach.
I was looking at it, I was like, is he driving Hot Rod or one of them? Like, I don't even understand what this is. But Mike was Mike.
Yeah.
Top down, chains on, in real peak 90s Brooklyn, and was as calm and confident as you could ever be. That's how bad this man was, Brother Jones.
Yeah.
To see his evolution to this point today, where he's gotten deeper into the psychedelics bag, he's gotten deeper into his mental health and recovery. He's even talked about his own trials and tribulations that he used to face while he was in the ring. I saw that this week, Mike Tyson opened up an academy in Arizona, and it's the first academy that is dedicated to emotional and social belief and intelligence based in the nation. So okay. Mike Tyson is dedicating a whole academy to emotional intelligence. How do you feel about hearing Iron Mike, Brooklyn's own, Brownsville's own Iron Mike Tyson opening up a school dedicated to emotional intelligence?
Brownsville never ran, never will.
At all. And they was outlining people in chalk right over in East New York, my man.
I would have to say that the evolution has been noteworthy because of all of the progress and all of the struggles that he went through growing up. I've seen the documentary, the story over and over. So I'm excited to see Mike Tyson in a space like that, to be offering opportunities that realistically he didn't have when he was younger.
At all. And again, he has used the alternative medicines has been a gateway to get him into this bag. Again, let us not forget that Mike Tyson is also a purveyor in the cannabis industries, and he has definitely been talking a lot about this damn toad that he got into that opened up a whole new world for him. So salute to Iron Mike and everything that he's doing on that front, my man. That was the good. It's going to be a steep decline after this, Kyle. Okay. So I'm just letting you know. Now, this is a follow-up to the SAD diet. Now, when I say SAD diet, I'm talking about the standard American diet out here. Okay?
I see what you did there.
We're talking about on this show, Kyle, the things that really do plague the Americans in typical ways that we choose to eat. Previously on the show, we mentioned how our favorite childhood cereals were actually causing us havoc, and they were causing things like diabetes and cancer, and were irrevocably linked in the recent studies. You remember that episode, Kyle?
We talking about Captain Crunch. We talking about the Trix Rabbit. We talking about Toucan Sam.
All of them.
Damn. Tony the Tiger.
You knew that one hurt my heart. It was close.
Tony the Tiger had the ascot that we still wear to this day.
And it said Tony on it. You didn't even understand. You ain't do the science. But, Kyle, apparently Kellogg's did some science this week, and the Kellogg CEO, did you see what he said this week to the American public?
I saw some rumblings on an app that I'm not going to mention, but I want you to go ahead and stretch it out.
So the Kellogg CEO was criticized for saying that consumers should consider eating cereal for dinner. as an alternative to trying to have other meals that would be more costly. Now, on the surface level of this, a CEO telling you to use more of his product to address your ills sounds like it's some bullshit straight up and down. But when you actually do a little bit of digging and you go back to the conversation that we had to start this, he's not only promoting more sickness, he's promoting more of these same ills that we talked about from having these sugary diets. So in all other ways, people were mad about him saying that he was being insensitive to the economic conditions, why you should be eating cereal. Hey, are you feeling a little broke? Well, a bowl of cereal only costs you about $1.25. So you could eat that for dinner. Family of four can survive off of this. It is totally fine. Never included any of the nutritional downsides for you just eating sugar multiple times of the day. So, Brother Jones, this is why I'm coming in here and feeling a little bit aggravated about it. What were your thoughts on this conversation?
Yeah, this sounds bad. There's no other way around it. First thing that comes to mind is, remember when the Amazon workers said employees should have shoe sizes that are too big?
Size too big so that your feet could swell. And your working conditions, they didn't want to change the working conditions. They just wanted to give you bigger shoes.
My feet hurt. Here, take these shoes.
Take these extra big shoes and still stand.
You'll be more comfortable. Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. And for someone to tell you to eat more cereal at night, I'd be curious what their diet looks like.
You know it don't have no cereal in it at all.
That part.
We're spending more money than we have in the last 30 years as a U.S. on food and dietary issues. When you are at the CEO level, I'm guaranteeing you, even if he does have his own products, he's not eating them for dinner at any point in time. I'm guaranteeing you that's not something that this man is actually doing.
I believe you. I'm going to pause you right there for a quick high tangent.
Okay.
There's a young TikToker named Nora Smith who's been getting a lot of flack online. Nora Smith is a stay-at-home wife, mother of 2 kids, about to be 3, and ultimately she makes food from scratch.
Okay.
So her children wake up, they say, yo, what do you want for breakfast? We want cereal. She made cereal from scratch in the household. Everything she makes is from scratch.
Nah, that's next level. That's when you've become a victim to your mom having a hobby that you are just now a part of. You're holding hostage.
The kids wanted a grilled cheese. She made the bread and the cheese, as well as the butter that went onto it. And it's all happening on TikTok and folding right in front of you.
She's trying to get a Food Network bid in there somehow, some way.
She's killing the Food Network. This is what I'm telling you. But continue. I'm sorry. That was the bad. I had to throw a little good in there because that was ugly. Don't be eating cereal for dinner. Do better.
Well, I'm going to move into the next situation, Brother Jones. I'm going to let people decide where they want to go with that. Have you seen any of the news that are coming out of the UK about Gymshark?
No.
So Gymshark, if I had to give that a description, can you talk to me a little bit about what you know about the brand?
Gymshark is, in my eyes, an athleisure brand that lives in the gym. They offer clothes for men and women, specifically like bodybuilding is their focus.
They're looking at lifters specifically. That's their core demographic.
Their lifters is the core demographic.
They don't care about what you're lifting. It's just specifically that we're coming after the lifters.
Because you're a Gymshark on land. Okay,
yeah, listen,
got it.
Man, they took it out away from the gym rats. They're giving you the gym sharks, my man. So they had a strong 2023, right?
Okay.
Part of their 2023 is trying to expand that UK brand a little bit deeper into the US side. And Kyle, to close out Black History Month, I don't know if you saw this, but Gymshark put out a headband specifically designed to their black gym goers because they were concerned about the hair issues that people typically face inside the gym, Kyle. Now, I don't know if you are in tune with the diffused sweatband the way that I saw it, but they said apparently, Kyle, that 45% of black women admit to avoiding exercise altogether to keep their hairstyle intact, and they are trying to be on the opposite end of that and keep people moving the right way. How do you feel about hearing about Gymshark taking some space in the U.S. territory and coming right for Black History Month, dropping this new headband on you?
I feel like you just wrapped up a lot in that, and I'm not going to stumble through any of this nonsense that you're talking about, because Gymshark has never cared about the black community.
Yes, they do.
Like, that's first and foremost.
They've invested into us, Kyle. They're giving us a headband.
First and foremost, that never happened. Second, the fact that you gave me a headband in Black History Month almost feels worse. Like, just emotionally, because I know you not there. That's like somebody trying to tell you how to tie your hair up at night with a do-rag, and it's like, fam, I comfortably know you don't have the problems that I have, so let's stop it.
Well, first things first, it is not the UK's Black History Month. Just got to point that fact out.
Okay.
So maybe they just didn't, maybe I'm shooting some
they was doing.
Maybe they just
somebody carried the one and was like, "We gonna do it right here."
Maybe it was off timing. You know what I mean?
Hey, I don't believe in coincidence.
Those months are not the same months. You know what I mean?
Sure, it ain't.
Secondary to that, do you think there's any validity to the fact that they're saying that of the women that they polled, 45% of the black women
I was gonna get to the women.
did not want to exercise?
I feel like that's an inflated number for one, right? That you used to be able to get that number off back in the day, and we could just categorize it as, oh yeah, black women in their hair. It's like, no, fam, the game has changed. There's a lot of women out here with the shortcut. There's a lot of women out here with hair and protective styles. What weaves have done are next level. There's dudes out here with weaves now. You know what I'm saying? Fake beards. You're not getting the same hair statistic off. I need receipts.
All right, more will be revealed, apparently, as the Sharks take to the land, and KR Jones is not accepting this. But I'm going to stay in the UK for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, now, we have been talking about stateside, Kyle, the fitness levels of our politicians for the last, I don't know how long this damn election cycle is.
You mean the clones?
I can't tell you that I'm very well invested in this, but everybody's concerned with the fact that our leadership is looking like it's weak as hell right now.
100%.
I saw legislation passed this week in leisure opportunities that new campaign challenges for politicians is going to ask them to prove that they are physically fit to come into office. And I was like, hey, hold on now. Wait a second. If they're going to have to come out with some physical fitness tests for the politicians moving into office, this might be something that might be a little interesting. I don't know if Joe and, Trumpito was going to come in here competing on the presidential physical fitness test.
The real one.
You remember that shit?
You know I do. The push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups.
They had you on the bar.
That's a fact. We had to do it. When they going to do it?
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
If we had to put a presidential physical fitness test for our presidential candidates, what would that fitness test look like, Kyle?
It's going to be the same thing they did with me. I need push-ups. I need you to drop and give me 20 off rip. I need pull-ups. I need the sit and reach test for your hamstring strength. And you got to climb the rope. Because the rope was the one that separated everybody.
Nah, we ain't had a rope in my class.
You ain't had a rope? You got to get up to the top and ring the bell like a firefighter?
I'm going to let you know what some of the Brooklyn classes was looking like, Kyle. We didn't have all of that.
Forget who I'm talking to.
Shout out to the era that I came from.
The era, the age range, the space, the time. Oh, that's when you lost Johnny.
Oh, yeah. Your green grass was green. Our green grass was brown.
We had archery in middle school.
See, you developed a whole different skill set.
We had weapons in school. We had wood shop class.
We had weapons in school, but it was different time. It wasn't necessarily condoned.
Oh, y'all had metal detectors before you came in.
I was trying to let you know.
Stop and frisk. It came from a real place.
Listen, man. I've just seen
you
some
had
stuff.
clear book bags, huh? You know what I'm saying?
I've seen some stuff in my time. The physical education that you're referring to is lost on me.
See-through book bags seems so ethnic.
So we're gonna move out of that situation.
I need to see what you got in there.
I'm gonna get to my last topic, and then I'm gonna kick it over to you, Kyle. I'm talking about a little bit of biometric pushback.
Okay.
Now, we've talked about how people are really starting to use these wearables and all the other things that, help you track your health data and help you track everything that is, in our world, measurable so that you can hopefully get better, quote unquote. That's the promise that they're trying to make.
Okay.
Kyle, I saw that 8 leisure operators this week have been sued for using biometric information to make enforcements happen in the workplace that are totally illegal. Now, this was a little tricky. So people have been using facial recognition software, heart rate monitor information, and some of the biometric feedback that you get from just touching in to log into different stations to tell whether or not their workers were showing up to work on time, were actually being productive. They're tracking your heart rate to see if you're actually paying attention to the stuff that you're doing during different meetings. And apparently that's illegal because we never said that we were going to explicitly use this information like this.
Yeah.
So we've always talked about there's going to be a darker side to you giving all your information away. What do you feel about hearing that people are using your biometric information to possibly penalize you on the work front?
That sounds ugly. It sounds quite robotic and very reminiscent of all the Will Smith movies that he been telling us about. I Robot, I Am Legend, Enemy of the State. You name it, he did it. He showed you. We here right now. When it comes to the workplace actually reading my biometric chemistry and correlating that with my output as an employee, I don't know how I can scientifically spell out slavery, but that's it right there. Is you are my property. I need you to do as much as you can. That's it.
So think about the things they can actually keep track of. With the front-facing monitors and front-facing cameras, they can see where your eyes are looking versus where they're not. We can already, again, make references based off of what your heart rate is.
You're getting jammed up.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. I got to give you a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, a little bit of ugly, but that's going to be it from my side of Rip from the Headlines. What do you have for people this week, bro?
That's wild, fam. I'm still trying to recoup. My list is just as bad. It's not really too much good out there. I did have something that was a little comical, so it's not even really good. It's more so what came across my screen online. So now I showed you this earlier before, and I want you to tell the listeners what it is that you're looking at right now.
They're horseshoes that are designed to be replicas of Jordans. So these are horse kicks, and they're a Jordan 3 horse kick.
But they're horseshoes. Like, horses already have shoes, but now they're putting shoes on horses.
Yeah, this is one of those equestrian flexes that this is already telling me if this is a concern for you, you in a different tax bracket than I am. So I'm going to go ahead and say
they made Nikes for horses, Tone.
You got to do it.
For horsepower.
You better not call them Nikes because Nike's going to come after you and shut this whole thing down.
That wasn't me. That guy, it is not. Oh.
Those are not Nike. Nike is not playing that game. And if you say it's a Nike, they're going to make some glue out of them damn horses over there. So you're going to really find out what the Nike man is about.
The logo is very swoosh-esque.
I'm telling you.
They call horse kicks.
You've seen everybody else that jammed up that, the Jordan 1 silhouette? Tell them how that played out.
These are the horsepower ones right here.
I understand.
You know? I was happy to see that somebody has the luxury and the freedom to create such foolishness that, like, I aspire to be that big one day, to just be like, you know what? I want to create turtle shoes, fam.
Turtle shoes for turtles. tortoise
for the slow walkers. You know what I'm saying? And give them some tortoise frames too, because they getting a lot of frames off on these boys, but I ain't never seen a turtle with tortoise frames. I digress. We're going to slide into the next bad thing that I witnessed. Now, Brother Tone, are you up on the court storming that took place against the Duke player?
I saw that somebody got hurt during the court storming, so I did see a little bit about that, but I'm not completely versed.
There was a Duke game, and my link is not working, so I can't pull it up. There it is. So there was a Duke basketball game, and during this Duke versus Wake Forest basketball game took place. Now, Duke and Wake Forest are in the same city, right? They're both in New York, so it's sort of, not New York, they're in North Carolina. There's a hometown rivalry that is taking place between Duke and Wake Forest. Now, after Duke lost the game, the crowd stormed the court, which is a normal occurrence that you would see in March Madness, if you will. This tradition has gone on for years, and it's never really been an issue that was reported. Now, there has been injuries of people that have been hurt in such instances of a court storming because it's essentially like a large mosh pit, if you will, at a concert. There's no real rules in it. Now, the issue now is there was a star player on Duke's team that got hurt because of a fan running into him before he was able to exit the court safely after this loss. I bring all of this up to get your thoughts on, first, the culture in flooding the court in collegiate sports as a general topic. Two, someone actually being hurt. What are the repercussions of that?
Yeah. So first things first, as somebody who used to work on the sidelines in collegiate sports, I am totally against anybody storming onto the court while I'm there. That is the quickest way to get yourself Bobby Knighted. And I'm talking about I'm taking one of them chairs and I'm just letting it go.
What?
Remember
that scene in The Matrix when homie took the pole and just hit everybody in a circle in a 6-foot perimeter?
Just start going around.
That's going to be me, for sure.
It's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing if you run up on the wrong person. So I would never condone that. The secondary part and the more serious note is, okay, with everything that we have on the advent of these college basketball players in particular, making money for these universities and not necessarily getting to retain that value, this injury could potentially cost this person their entire career.
Yeah.
So your moment that you wanted to do and run out onto the court and have this, rebel rousery or whatever you want to call it, you could cost this person hundreds of millions of dollars potentially. What are you going to tell them and their family when they're trying to make that change, that level of change happen generationally for their family? You just took that away and that might not come back. So how do you really justify that? Because you wanted to get your celebration off. I can't condone it in any type of way.
I think the lens starts to shift when you look at something like NIL deals. Now these collegiate athletes are professional. That's an asset that's on the court. That is their future, their parents' future, that school's future. There's so many other facets that are associated with this individual that was way more business asset than it is now than just a collegiate student back in the day. So storming the court, it seems highly dangerous.
Yeah, and unnecessary, largely unnecessary. I think it's also trying to steal somebody else's moment. It's like, you're not in there lacing up and putting no shots. You wasn't with them shooting in the gym, fam. Stop it.
Hate it had to be you.
Yeah.
Sliding out of that, we're going to get into the last ugly story. Now, faithful listeners of the show will know that I talked about Macy's for a little bit before and them stealing some art from some local, or not even local, some known graffiti artists, actually. Allegedly.
We still think that they put that art on one of the Macy's buildings and somebody got back at them.
I'm here to tell you, Tone, that Macy's is set to close over 150 stores as sales slip and they start to pivot into their luxury new locations of Bloomingdale's.
Okay.
So that sounds like little mergers and acquisitions, if you will, Tone. We spoke about that before back in the day. But when I think about a space like Macy's, why I bring this up, it's one of them department stores. Wherever you grew up at, wherever you lived, there was that one store that was there. It was a Heck Company. It was a Lord & Taylor's. It was a Tolbit's. Whatever you lived at, you had one. Macy's just happened to be that one for me. Now, I remember when you got Christmas gifts as a kid, it would come in that Macy's box. That didn't mean your gift was from Macy's. That just mean that's just where they got the box from. Majority.
Or the bag.
It was very misleading, much like the little cookie tin, if you know what I'm talking about. You never really know what you're going to get when you open it. Now, I say all this to say, I spent so much of my damn money in Macy's back in the day that I feel I need to recoup from such things, you know. But to see them close, it made me feel a little bit good on the inside. It was like, y'all going down, you know?
It's endemic of the times that we're in. I think the brick and mortar model is just dying a lot faster than most people can account for.
100%.
And major retail operations have to really rethink how every part of that business works. So I'll go back into my story, a little side tangent. My parents met at what a predecessor of Macy's was. So you go back deep enough.
What was it called?
They got the Woolworths and they got the Mays. So downtown Brooklyn, we had Mays.
Yeah.
And Mays eventually was, the mergers and acquisitions happened back in the day too. They eventually turned into Macy's, right? So there, I can think of the one that I've known for the longest part of my life. We didn't have a full mall downtown. We had Macy's and we had kind of a Toys R Us. It wasn't really all of that stuff. I'm talking about shout out to the 90s era in Brooklyn. You know what Fulton Street really used to look like versus what it looks like today.
Square.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you get squared up.
So with all of that, I feel like it's a sign of the times and it's something that is also a sign that just comes with age, man. You can't see these institutions that are really lasting the test of time when they don't have the ability to have the awareness to adjust to the times.
No, I couldn't agree more. The last time I was in a Macy's, it was a couple years back, and I was shocked at how bad in shape the store was because you don't have the same amount of staff as you used to. There was clothes everywhere. Like it looked like you think about when stores would close, like they're going out of business and then you just get racks that get smaller and smaller and the clothes get closer to the middle. It was like, yo, what is happening? Like we're seeing literal retail die.
Yeah. I mean, you think about the big boxes that are still alive and well to this day. There's not a whole lot of them.
No, not at all. The malls are slowly dying. We've seen that in that movie, The Last of Us. They went into the mall. It wasn't a movie, it was a show. I don't know if you watched it.
I definitely did.
But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The mall episode was one of them ones. Sliding out of that, brother, we're going to get into a little Raising the Bar segment this week.
Let's raise it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you now in store to raise your bar. Brother Tone.
Yes, sir.
I had a week. It was one of them weeks where I earned every day. Sunday to Sunday, it was something, you know? And I stumbled upon a couple gyms along that week. Like the top of the show, I got to kick it with one of the OGs for sure. Got to go to the gym with one of the homies on the guest pass tip. Like, I've been out here, you know what I'm saying? Getting to it. Now, one of the gyms that came up heavy this week was the realization of having to break down. You know what I'm saying? Like, the first thing that comes to mind is when the car breaks down or, you know, whatever the case may be, physically, metaphorically, emotionally, you going to get to a breaking point where it's just like, damn, like, I got to start fresh.
I'd have been broke before.
Numerous times. And famously, we spoke on how many different versions of yourself you have to be in order to present today. How many different evolutions did you have to go through? How many different times did the caterpillar have to turn into the butterfly and you had to break through the cocoon just to see the other side of what was really happening? To pimp a butterfly, if you will.
Okay.
You see where I'm going? See what I did with that?
I remember when it all started.
If these walls could talk. Now, it brought me to this idea of some breaking has to take place. In order to make an omelet, you gotta break a few eggs, right? Like, there's this dichotomy that exists of like, I have to physically be broken down, but then I also have to break through at the same time to propel to that next level. And it got me to this idea of you could be broke, but not broken.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? One of them hood slangs, like them broke boys. Famously, Drake would talk about them. You ain't got no money or you're not in whatever social, economical, IG status that you think you are, right? Like, you might be broke, but as long as you're still getting to it, you ain't broken, right? You still have a moment and space to break through to that next level, right? That's where you got to proliferate yourself into your own greatness, because that's the only way you're really going to get there. Now, aside from that, it led me down this other line of thinking. I told you, I can't even, I'm trying to get it out. You see how much pain I'm having with this Tone is I've been watching The Bachelor, right? I don't even want to. Yeah, I know.
So I want to play Hassan.
You see
mark this
how hard
down.
it was for me to say that?
Boo this man, Hassan. Boo this man.
You see how much it took for me to say that out loud. So I've been watching not only The Bachelor, but The Bachelorette.
Hassan, cut his mic off right now.
I've been on the Love is Blind TV. Like, I haven't been watching it, but my lady will put it on.
Remember when I told you he was buying some good karma?
And it be on, you know what I'm saying? So it got me to this idea of, well, what to look for in a partner. Because I'm looking at all these dating shows and you got the Love is Blind situation that's happening and you've got two people that are trying to build something without seeing each other. When we live in a world where your appearance is that's your debit card, your face card, that's going to let you in or out or wherever you're going. If you're ugly, you going to know it. It ain't no way around it. If you ain't, you also going to know. You know, it's some range. And again, famously, you'll remember my quote, we are ugly to somebody. So take that however you will. Doubling back to what to look for in a partner, and got me thinking along these lines of, well, if I had to build with somebody that I couldn't see, I would need to know about that person's work ethic, right? Like, I would need to know what have you accomplished to see if we on the same page. If I'm going through schooling and I'm a doctor and I did all of these years and pre-med and residency and all these things, I'm not really just trying to get with the chick who's a knitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would need somebody to be a little more accomplished and to meet me where I'm at so that we can see eye to eye on what our work level is or like our output and things of that nature, right? It just kind of got my wheels spinning in the sense of understanding your alignment to someone else, right? Understanding how we get along. So my question to you, Brother Tone, in all of this, when building a partner, not building, I'm going to say, like, when searching for a partner to build a relationship with someone, what's something that you could say you look for as like a mile marker of I need this from this person?
I think that that's pretty layered. And I think that there is an evolution that has taken place from the earliest relationships all the way through to today. But before I even get into that, I'm gonna let everybody out there know, if you are finding any of your dating information from any of the shows that Kyle has mentioned, that is your primary problem. You need to focus on how you stay away from all of that silly shit.
No, you will not talk about my great advice.
You should steer clear of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, any other iteration of that.
Oh, that's not life for real.
That's why I'm telling people.
Yeah, that's play.
Don't go there.
No.
Don't find any of that information.
That is
there.
That's cap.
Aside from that, I think at one point in time, I used to look for people who were kind of similar to what you were saying, a reflection of the things and the ideologies that I had. And that was very important for specific reasons at different points in life. When you are amidst some of the grind and different strife and things of that nature, you might want to have somebody that is energetically understanding to what comes along with that. Right?
The hustle culture. If you ain't a hustler, you won't understand.
I can tell you that although that does sound on the face like a great thing to do, if you have two of literally the same like-minded people doing the same level of pursuit, that's also a place that is ripe for friction because, again, it's kind of like you putting two star players on the same team. Now, in theory, it sounds like it's a great thing.
Not everybody gonna move the rock.
But not everybody is going to understand how to concede and how to follow in the instances where you definitely have to in the team of a relationship. So although I do agree with that, and I do say along the path, I have searched for that at different points in time, somebody that can mirror that same level of intensity, I get fucking exhausted with my level of intensity. So I know that this is a lot of crazy shit for somebody to deal with. And I'm not saying at all that this is the thing that I would want to imbue on somebody's life that is not prepared to handle that. So I think more often we should find things that are complementary to those skill sets. So where am I at a deficit is really going to be something that I'm looking for or trying to understand more about what my approach to partnership is today. And deficit, not to say that these are things that I never want to work on or don't have the ability to improve upon. But if we can be complementary, that doesn't necessarily mean we have to be lockstep and agree on every single thing and approach it the same way. It's just these two skill sets match together and they can get that team to a different goal. So I think that whole evolution where I'm looking for another reflection of me to now I'm looking for what can help enhance and proliferate us is two totally different mindsets.
Sound like you've been in the gym, brother. In the mental gym, that is.
I told you I was
doing the heavy lifting.
I was buying that good karma.
You've been out here, it's really litigation is what it comes down to.
I can see both sides.
And how well can you advocate for yourself? Because if you don't do that, you're gonna be behind some bars.
I've had some of these conversations.
You're gonna be in prison in your own home.
My pivot is crazy though. I can spin out of the trap defense.
I got a spin move for pedestrians, for anybody.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So sliding out of that, I guess we can only get into. We were going to get into a little relax responsibly.
Okay.
But before we take that stop there, we're going to make a little pit stop. We're going to talk about today's calisthenics, Tone.
Oh, wow. He's bringing it back.
We're going to bring it back. Now, faithful listeners of the show will know about today's calisthenics is another extension of an episode for us just to talk that talk.
You know it.
I wanted to give this shout out to the brother Joel, man. I was at that other event that he had.
Salute.
Let's all be free. Let's all get free, that event that we went to. And I almost forgot about this gym that was there in the moment. Now, this gym that I dropped, pardon us, we getting interrupted by a fan out there.
Tony we got to pick up these fans for the block of the rock right here, my man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to keep my... Hey, getting out of that. We was in this event, and there was a gym that was dropped on me in the event. Shout out to the brother Rob Hill Sr. He's an author, and he was asked about, well, what is it like to confuse the line between being a nice person and someone that is being taken advantage of? And the way that he approached it was, well, nice is subjective, depending on who you are. What I focus on, in his words, was try not to be harsh to people, right? Like, you can actively know what harshness for no reason is. Everyone can agree upon that. And if you take a stance to not be harsh to individuals, inherently you don't have to be nice, but I'm not being harsh. I'm just being one with the world, right? And I think that line of thinking was what led him down the path of like, I don't want to be too nice, the nice dude, but I'm not about to be a doormat either. You get what I'm saying? You're not about to just walk all over me. And it sets up those boundaries. It sets up healthy communication and all of those things. And the gym that he dropped was, you got to learn how not to be a victim without becoming a bully. And that was something that really weighed with me, because a lot of times when someone goes through something very traumatizing and you come out on the other side, you end up with that trauma kind of fueling a lot of your decision making. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to separate the two and grow from that moment, from that instance, from whatever that situation is. So after I stretch this out, Brother Tone, you got any gems to drop on the idea of knowing your place in space, but then also having the wherewithal to evolve not at the expense of others?
Yeah, I think that's all kind of just tying together the whole theme from the show. It's really all these things that come with that time that defines where you are and how confident you feel about setting your own definition. I say similarly to how he laid it out, I've heard it said that I never really wanted to be nice. I was trying to be kind. And I started to emulate that after, I forget where I picked it up from exactly, but it was like, yeah, you know what? There is a distinct difference between being, he said harsh, and I'm not above being harsh. So
he also had the nice and kind, bars in there too, but I'm with you.
You said harsh, but I'm going to keep the harsh in the back pocket, because I might have to get harsh with you. It depends on what the situation is calling
for. If you're trying to steal my parking spot.
There's some harshness that can be there,
Yeah.
But the nice and kind delineation, just to get back into that, I think people assume and misattribute a lot of things to being nice that clearly allow for boundaries to be overstepped. If I'm kind, I could still be cordial. I could be all these different things. I could even, present to some who might be ill-informed and think that's just nice. So I could take advantage of that. And then as soon as you step over that line, you find out very quickly why that's not the case. So
a mistake was made.
Yeah. And it could even be a cordial correction, but the correction has to come. Right. And with all of that, I do think it's merit to it. You have to get to the point in life where, kind of like we were talking about before, you know what you're not going to put up with. So you shouldn't even advocate or allow for that to start to take place. And it doesn't have to be an infringement on somebody else's happiness. It could just be the defense of your own. I think that totally makes sense.
All right, man. After that, we can only slide into a little relax responsibly, Tone.
Yes, sir.
As we segue into this segment, brought in part by the Off the Strength bag on the move, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
this
right.
bag is in the studio. It is the crossbody. It is the yoga strap attachment so that you can travel with your yoga mat. It is the suspension trainer that you can get your suspension training on.
Stay strapped.
If you stay strapped, you ain't got to worry about being caught lacking.
And you could get some good relaxation on with that, Brother Jones. Thank you for plugging on the move bag by Off the Strength. I was relaxing this week, Brother Jones.
Okay.
By getting into a little bit of live music, my friend.
Speak on it.
Now, I have been somebody that has been to, I would say, at this age, probably over the 1,000 number of live performance numbers.
I've been to a few with you, so I believe that
It's
wholeheartedly.
definitely up there, and few and far between. There's things that are going to make me happy, as happy as I can be without seeing like live music. There's always just going to be a certain level of energy when somebody's putting their own emotion into it,
Yeah.
And I feel like the instrumentation that you hear in a live situation is not something that's captured today. You don't really see a lot of people who actually take the time to learn a skill, to then master that skill, and then
It's like speaking another language.
then be able to perform it in front of people. So I did find some relaxation down in Bowery Electric, my friend.
Okay, you was getting a little electric boogaloo on.
Yeah, 1-2 electric boogaloo is how I was doing it. How were you relaxing on your side, my friend?
I thought you was going to have more to that story, so I was actually unprepared.
I dropped the knee.
As to why I'm not ready for my relaxation. But when I really think about how I relaxed this week, it would have to be, I haven't been relaxed, bro. It's been stressful. It's been tough. I've been under some stuff that I can't really speak on.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? But we're going to talk about it as soon as I can talk about it. But right now, we can't talk about it. There's a lot to talk about.
So let me rephrase the question.
Okay.
Kyle, you've been really stressed this past week.
Yes.
All right.
I've been on edge.
You clearly
My weed is low.
You clearly need to relax.
I do.
All right.
I'm high strung.
So when you have an opportunity to relax, what would KR Jones like to do to relax responsibly.
First, I'm gonna slap them.
It's not responsible. You lost that part.
Responsible. It may be relaxing, but definitely not responsible. Man, when I get the chance, I do want to get back into the travel bag.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to building out what that needs to be. And I think we vastly overestimate what travel needs to be. We often think it has to be the stamp in the passport. Fam, travel could just be upstate just for a little bit to soak up some nature outside of where you are. So
Change your zip code.
I need to change my zip code expeditiously.
Okay.
Before somebody catch a backhand.
All right, man.
And then the front hand to follow, maybe even spit on top of, and a couple kicks to the ribs, and I'm out.
See, that's that harsh that you were talking about in the last
It's not
segment.
harsh. That's just real rap right there.
All of that sounds very harsh.
That's just real rap,
And it's
man.
not the behavior that I would say is indicative to the type of yoga instructor that can lead a cult. You can't come out the gate with that. You got to start off being a lot nicer, Kyle. That's your problem.
Love hurts.
That ain't the only thing.
It's the only way.
Right. Is there anything else you want to bless the good people with before we get up out of here today, my man?
Nah, I'm gonna leave him with that.
All right.
Just know you will get these hands if you need it.
And if you need the laying of the hands from KR Jones himself, you know, we are touching down here live on the Block of the Rock from Newsstand Studios. You can always catch up with us. Where exactly, Kyle?
At @offthestrength_ on Instagram, or if you're in the greatest city in the world, that's New York City, you can come down to Newsstand Studios live at the block of Rockefeller Center, right? You can come check us live and in person.
That's what's up, man. We, again, are touching down here with Hassan Insane himself. We got the brother KJ inside the building doing the behind-the-scenes work. Kyle, once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to everybody out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Peace.
What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.